The microphone. Unmute, Kevin. It's my first time streaming, I'm sorry. It's first time. Bound to make some errors. Yeah, Minute's fantastic. Cool little game. They do some neat stuff with the sound, actually. There's one thing that sticks out in memory. When you get hit and take damage, all audio stops for like 0.1 seconds. Crazy. Crazy. Just everything stops and it carries on at that point. It's one of those soundtracks where I want to just cancel the stream and just do a listening stream instead. Just very good. Also, am I quiet this time around? I feel like I might be quieter for some reason. And I don't think it's just because the soundtrack is loud. I feel like I am also quiet. But, oh, you know what? No, I'm quiet over here. There we go. All right. It was your volume knob, Kevin. That'll do it. Alright, well, I think I'm okay volume-wise. Like, my volume independent of the track, I think. But, who knows? I think I'm alright. Okay, how's everyone doing? I've been working hard on sound design stuff. Just kind of racing to get the stream going here. I apologize for being a little bit late. But perhaps now's a good time to talk about sound design stuff. We so rarely actually do, I mean, if ever, actually do like live sound design things, so maybe we should do a little bit of that right now. I'm kind of set up for it right now, actually, so perhaps it makes sense. Yukio, Kitos, thank you so much. Killer soundtrack. I'm gonna put this in the chat. If you haven't either bought the soundtrack or played the game, either one of them or both, highly recommend. Highly recommend. But let me just go ahead and, sorry, give me a hot second here. I think what I'll do is make sure I'm not breaking any NDAs. I'm pretty sure I'm not. Yeah, so I have this open still. I've just been doing some UI design for Industries of Titan. Do you all know this game? I feel you might know it. It's this one here. Are we familiar? Yes? I think. I think perhaps. I think. Yeah, this is the creative direction, the audio direction for both music and sound for this game is kind of dirty. It's something of a world of unfettered capitalism. So ships are kind of ramshackled together. They're not really, there's not a lot of attention given to making things cozy or look good or anything. It's all kind of, is it in the interest of profits? Cool, we'll put like the beds next to the factory equipment and stuff like that, you know? So sound wise, we're not doing Star Trek style sleek, kind of users of tomorrow style sci-fi effects, beeps and clean tones and stuff. It's all like all little grittier, chunkier. And what I have found works great for that is none other than the Fruity Granulizer. It's good. I've been using this thing for like 20 years, ever since I first got Fruity Loops 2.1 or whatever the heck it was. We're on like version 20 something now. It's been around for a while. Also, yeah, Little Ultra Boy is fantastic. Good little friend here. Good friend. This plugin chain has too many things. A bunch are off actually. But so here are some of the sounds I've been doing. I have the session open right now. I'm in my Titan UI session right now, which is unusual. I'm usually in this streaming session, but at the mic in this session too, it's okay. So there are things like this, right? 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 It's stuff like that. That's a fun one. Right, so all the kind of sci-fi-ish stuff is a little dirtier. It's not quite so clean as some games might be, or some media might be. And so what we're doing is, this is actually the source material I'm using for the granulizer is just a track from the game that Danny B did, right? Like it just is, right? It just is the song. If we just play here, I think it's down here. Nope. Here? Okay, right there, just in the middle. So like, it's just, right, it's just the song. So, but over here, I've got a bunch of stuff. This is the one actually on the plugin, like on the mixer channel and stuff, right? That's just raw. So if I pitch this way up, like 3 octaves, 4 octaves, and just play stuff, it's really nice. You know, there you go. So this is just raw. Just me fiddling on the keyboard, right? Easy. And that is, mind you, just playing from this position in space, like on the wave. Right? I can reset all these for... This is like octaves up, right? Compared to... Right? So we got a little bit of decapitation happening also, not too much. It's turned down like to 25% wet. But we got the pitch up happening. We got some, oh, this is a great free distortion plugin. Really nice. Crush. Really nice. Just a little bit of reverb. The EQ is doing nothing, as you can see. There's not much happening. Just some granulization? Yeah, so we can go randomizing also, where it just uses random bits, and suddenly you just have source forever. No sweat. This is just perform it and record for a while, and suddenly you have a bunch of content to work with. It's really, really helpful. So for a sound like this one here, let's see here. What's a, like this is an unlock confirm, basically. It's kind of like a, hey, good job. You spent some stuff you've been working for, and that purchase has unlocked a thing, and good job, you did the thing. It's a slight reward sound. Right, so in this case, of course there's more than this going on there, but that's the source of it. If I pull out kind of the main bit, we've got, let's see here, is it this one? Yeah. I'll solo this track. So we got stuff like this. This is me performing previously at some point, right? Just to get some cool sounds. Hopefully something cool comes out and you can use that. So I got that, and then once we have this bit I pulled out, that's what I wanted from that bit. So what else do I have in here? I got this layer, I guess. Is it this one? No, this one. So that is just this thing thrown through H delay with automation on the delay time, so we have the kind of pitching up over time, rather than we have a, and then we take this one again and throw it through H delay again with the same automation, or just longer automation, and ping pong also. Oh yeah, and this one too. I'm panning from center to go wide over time, which is really fun too. Nice detail when you have a stereo width kind of pulled into your design choices as well. I got a classic cinematic bass dive, Don't At Me. It's gotta be there. And I don't even know what that is. Just some, oh, it's this thing. It's a footstep for the transient. Thrown through Valhalla Supermassive. Anyone? Super, super good also. Very good plugin. Got that there. And then we're throwing that. This is also going through Verify on Pro Tools to have some pitch down. However, little trick to all you Pro Tools fans out there and all you Reaper pals, just mute the channel for a bit. It's fine. if you're using Verify to have some pitch curviness happening over time, I might recommend you not or explore not just selecting the region, but selecting beyond the region. so that the pitch down of the region itself doesn't go kind of all the way to like, ground zero. It goes maybe halfway or like a quarter of the way. So you have more subtle pitch down, like, here, I'll pull the tail so you can hear the whole thing. Like, right. That's like all the way, but we don't want all that. So we go just that much and drop off. And here is the same thing with this preset on Decapitator thrown on top. I believe it's this one at least. It's my favorite one. Not that one? This one. There we go. Add some tinsel. Oh, add some tinsel is just king. It's so good. I love it. Very, very nice. Lovely. Yeah. I think that's the one there, actually. And then bass dive. Some nonsense. Cool. Yeah, that's kind of it. So the whole sound, I mean, there you go. I'm a big fan of having a little bit of pitch movement on stuff as opposed to, because is A, less interesting, and B, is dangerous when it comes to working alongside tonality or any kind of key center. If pitches move, the key center is now a moot point. It doesn't matter what the key is for the most part. There's sometimes you need to think about like the tone it begins on, or if it kind of trails towards a tone, think about that. But in general, if something's going like, it doesn't matter what the key center is of the things. There's no inherent kind of tone to that sound, right? So anyways, there you go. There's a little helpful tip for you. I mean, I got all these knobs are hooked up to my controller, so I can mess with that and kind of see what's happening. With like kind of different settings and such on the pitch work. Or if you want a little more kind of single tone yet, you can go robot on Alter Boy. See, I'm hitting different notes now, but they all kind of sound similar. Right, compared to here where it's like, you can hear it kind of pitching up more over time. Yeah. There you go. Again, like the more you can find ways to just rapidly and efficiently and effectively get good source, like you're gonna be in good shape, because otherwise what are you doing? You're in SoundMiner or Basshead or whatever, like searching sci-fi chirp or beep, and you like find the ones you've used before and like try and process them in new ways. And it's more challenging for like questionable results, because you may end up just making stuff you've made before, right? And with Titan, I mean, a game like Industries of Titan, the entire game is buttons. Like there's like 300 plus UI sounds in this game right now, easily. It is pretty ridiculous. So if I need to do something like, for example, like right now, these UI sounds are for kind of a new feature we're adding to the game that looks quite different than everything else we've done in the game thus far. So we want to have it a little bit different than the UI that's already in there. And so to that end, I can just pull in a different source file to granulize, and suddenly it sounds way different. You pull in stuff that's all really bassy or stuff that's all really chirpy. The first time I did this, we actually used, we did a bunch of kind of UI like the old-fashioned way, just making it from scratch, and then all that UI, once we established this this kind of sonic palette for the UI for the project, then I took all those files we made, like the, I don't know, 50 some, and put them in a consolidated WAV file, and then used that in the FL Studio granulizer. And now we're just riffing off stuff we already made before, right? And so of course it's going to sound like it's at home with that content, but it'll sound different enough that it's going to be kind of bringing something new and unique to the project, despite not getting away too far from what we already made. So yeah, it's working well. So if you have a game like this, go for it. Okay, enough of that though. Enough of this UI nonsense. Hopefully that was somewhat helpful or informative or interesting to you out there. I know I don't talk about my personal approach to sound design very often, so there you go. Okay, anyways, so we saw a minute. I'm gonna link it one more time because some people had just wandered in. There you go. Let me just catch up on chat a bit too. I have not acknowledged anyone who's joined the chat, so thank you all for coming in today, of course, as per usual. Let me see. We got Turi, Anthony rolling in first off. First. And Mike, what's up, Brittany? Hey, Taco Bowl, already compile the website feedback. Holy. You know, I'm the one who's supposed to be doing prep for this stream. I was late today. I feel like Taco Bowl was more prepared than I was. Matt, good to see you. Natasha, as always. Ryzun. You been here before? 90 messages. How have I not seen your message before? Ryzun? I'm sorry. I feel terrible. Shagans. Benedict. Oh my god, so many people here. A lot of names I haven't seen for a while, actually. Nice. Very nice. Farrell. Yeah, it's been a while. How you been? Frequency. Hey, Presley. How you been? Jonesy. Good. Is that Biru, actually? Is that like the 1 to 3? Is that a B? I feel like that might be Biru Jones. Jonesy, is that you? I can't recall. Been around with another name. Okay, perhaps that was it. I shouldn't feel too bad. Alex, good to see you. It's a B. There you go. B Jonesy. I thought so. Sneaky. So sneaky. Yeah, I was calling Mike Roman like Micromaniac and not knowing who he was for a long time. So yes, these sneaky handles. So sneaky. Chris sounds rad. Wonderful. Yeah, some love for Supermassive in the chat. Supermassive Valhalla's plugins are so good. Supermassive is an excellent way to just add a little more of a foundation to what you're working on. I mean, right now I made like this one, I think it was. Very nice. And let's kill off the thing underneath. Sound sucks. Now it's good. Yeah, very nice. Anyways, it's cheating. You're cheating. I'm breaking the rules I always say on stream. Don't just add reverb and call it done. That's what I'm doing. This is what the job is. Okay. All right. So, Alex, riffing on your own stuff is killer. Best thing I ever did was added the Wise Project SFX files to my SoundMiner database. Yeah, honestly, just pull in stuff you've made before. If you're looking to expand upon, I mean, it is a unique kind of problem or challenge, I guess, for me personally, for Titan, because I've never done a game that has this much UI. I feel like I'm working on Destiny 2 or something, right? I'm playing Destiny, and like there's so much UI in that game, and all the different things you can get, and the reward sounds for things you can get. It's just crazy. So, yeah, with pulling in your own content to kind of riff on that, it's a much easier path to get to a destination where the end result resembles the thing you already have. That's the goal, of course, right? And what you can do is you can kind of process things in a certain way, but do it across a lot of the sounds you already have. And then you have this new set of sounds that are all kind of their own family, but they also fit into the larger kind of universe of what you've been building. So you can use that family of sounds for, like this little mini game over here, or like this certain UI panel, or this certain area, like this certain building you can go into, or whatever, right? And it'll just it shouldn't risk breaking immersion or being too different from the rest of the project. So there you go. Okay, so don't add reverb and call it done. Never do that. Yes, you got it. Don't. It's a classic do as I say and not as I do situation, right? All right, so let's go ahead and get started. This is Real Talk. We're having a look at a couple up-and-comers. We got Biru Jones here, and I think it's your second time on Real Talk, if I recall correctly. And we have Michael McCaughey. Oh, I apologize if that was not correct. I hate saying last names incorrectly. I should require in the submission process a recording of you saying your name. That should be part of the process. It's correct, killer. All right, we got there. What I should do too before I go any further, I should close this UI. Close that one. We're closing? Is it mad at me? Save changes? Sure, why not? Let's do it. And now we have this one open. I'm gonna unmute our applause. Am I? Here? Oh my God, it's not gonna work. Is it gonna work? Please? No? Oh jeez. What's going on? No? Oh my God. Well, we have no applause today. Rip. Give me a second. I need applause, right? We can't not clap. Hold on. I think Closing FL messed with the second instance messed with the MIDI stuff. We got this. It's okay. We'll recover. We'll recover. We got there now? We're going to go here. What is... There just isn't applause now. I don't know. I can't solve this problem on the fly, so I don't know. I literally had applause like moments before the stream, so... Jesus Christ. That was loud. Okay, well... Well, we're clapping, I guess. Okay, well, the MIDI isn't working. I can press the button. We're going to press the button. We'll do it old school. It's all right. Well, let's get an FL. I'll press the button with the mouse, and that'll be our stream this week. Jeez, I'm late. MIDI's not working. What is going on today? No good. In before internet goes down. We'll see what happens. Okay, anyways. Yes, real talk. So we're looking at some up-and-comers. Michael McCaughey and Biru Jones. We're taking a look at their websites and their demo reels, any other materials they may have on their page to look at. And we're looking at this from an angle of this being the primary piece in a job application, wherever they might be looking to get into. If it's with an indie dev or with a large studio or with a third-party team like ours, that kind of thing. And we're going to give some very honest feedback to say, hey, this is working and this might not be working as well. So... to that end, down below, have a look. We're looking at presentation, material selection, content quality, and distinction. For presentation, we're looking at the website on the whole, just general navigation stuff. Kind of is there information here that is pertinent to why I'm here? Can I find it easily? Are the most important things right in our face right away? That kind of thing. Is time being used wisely? Really, what it comes down to is just taste stuff as well. I'm sure Taco Bowl, our resident website design expert, will be happy to weigh in here. Seems they already have some notes good to go. And for the demo reel in terms of presentation, we're looking at things like the length and the flow and titling and everything that kind of is beside the audio itself. And furthermore, material selection, we're looking at the pieces selected for the reel and for portfolio and what those selected pieces may suggest to someone who doesn't know Michael or Biru very well, what it may suggest about their past work history and their current skill sets and their future ambitions. For content quality, we're watching the reel and the other materials and saying, is this stuff good? Is it good? Period. And if there's room to improve, I will be happy to offer my opinion. And I know there's a lot of people in the chat who are very established and who are gainfully employed in game audio, and some who are not yet but have very good ideas. And I'm sure they'd be happy to help out too and give you their ideas. So pay attention to chat. There's a lot of good stuff in there all the time. And finally, distinction is, are you standing out? As there are a lot of people looking for those same gigs you're looking to get, and it's very, very important. It is paramount to make some positive first impression. And even if that means you don't get hired this time around, it could mean that you stick in someone's memory and have a better chance next time around when you apply again to the same studio, or perhaps you'll be recommended to a friend of that recruiting person or team, whoever it is. If you didn't quite make the cut, but you are very good, then yeah, why wouldn't they recommend you to somebody else, right? There you go. So let's go ahead and get started. I think I saw Jonesy first in the chat. I did. So let's do Biru Jones. This is our second time around. I didn't check for clarification or confirmation in the chat, but I'm pretty sure it's the same. Yeah, this controller is so similar. You're right. I'm looking there. I mean, it's just like the SNES controller. It's fine. There's you get a pass for that. It's all right. But there is a weird kind of recurring phenomenon with Real Talk where there is very often kind of a relationship between the two reels we look at. Like they'll have the same fundamental problem or same like weird thing that we've never seen before, or yeah, whatever it is. So there you go. That's what it is this time around. We have the same controller, same classic logo vibes. There you go. So Jonesy, let's have a look. BiruJones.com. You want to follow along? I'll put it in the chat actually. There you go. Check out Biru's stuff. Hi, I am Biru. I am a sound designer for media, originally from DC and currently working in Los Angeles, California. I'm passionate about both creative and technical design, and I live for finding solutions to make all audio experiences as immersive as possible. I received my BM in audio design and production from Berklee College of Music in 2018. Currently, I am working at Within as an audio specialist for Supernatural. Oh, like the show? Oh, not the same thing. Okay. Isn't there a show called Supernatural with like Felicia Day and stuff or something? Right, I've seen this actually. Nice. So you're working. It seems you're working. Cool. Perhaps you're looking for the next step or something. Who knows? VR game. Sweet. Yeah, I have seen it actually. I recall. I don't know how I saw it. Through something. Oh, speaking of Destiny 2, there you go. There it is. League of Legends Wild Rift, currently entertaining me. That's pretty cute. I like this. Okay. Very short bio. This is the classic feedback we give oftentimes on Real Talk. Just whenever you're writing your bio, like I hate writing my bio. I put it off for literally years. My bio is very out of date. It is yet to be updated. It really should be updated at some point. Whenever you're doing your bio, I'd recommend that you look at every sentence and say, is this sentence pertinent to me specifically in some way? And for this one, I mean, you're saying you like creative and technical design. I guess that's kind of you only, but like not really. That's kind of game audio in general. That's kind of part of the gig, you know? So this one here, I'm passionate about, I hate seeing that word in bios because everyone's passionate about both creative and technical design, and I live for finding solutions to make, like all this is kind of, that could be on anyone's bio, you know? So it's not that it's hurting you, it's just that on that note of distinction down below here, it's not really helping you stand out from the crowd anymore. It's not helping kind of root you in the reader's mind. If you're talking about things like I play in a band, or I was involved in this like volunteer game jam organization, or I write for this audio site, or I volunteered at a music festival and that's what I do in my spare time. Like whatever, things are like parallel to audio in some way. Whatever you can find in there, I'd recommend you do so. That includes things like, you know, saying you received a BM in audio design and production. Great. I mean, I've seen people put in their bio like a little more elaboration onto that, like what they like. Do you play something? I mean, College of Music, I assume you play an instrument, right? Like that's maybe worth putting in there. Like you play bass or something. That kind of thing just helps. I mean, who knows? Maybe the person that's reading it also plays bass, you know? And then suddenly you have an interview, and in your interview, they might say, "Oh, I can't wait for Biru to get in here because I can talk about like jamming on bass," right? It's just these like small little things here and there that can help you have a little leg up. That's all. It says full bio though. Let's see here. I might be talking way out of turn. Oh, here we go. Let's read this one, everyone. I'm a sound designer, and I work to achieve totally immersive audio experiences for media. I graduated with double majors in audio from Berklee College of Music in 2018. Got it. Okay. I grew up just outside DC and played music from a very young age. I started with the recorder. Nice. What, in elementary? Me too. Which carried me into clarinet and later the saxophone. Which one, though? That's the question. My guess is alto. You look alto-y. Maybe. Is that fair to say? Is that offensive? You look alto-y? In high school, I joined choir, orchestra, and taught myself piano and guitar. Yeah, Kate, ignore all my previous statements. Since graduating, my focus has been on crafting my skills as a sound designer for interactive and linear media, including video games, animation, AR, VR, film, and TV. I currently reside in LA, where I'm specializing in video game audio. I love this bio. In my free time, I enjoy working out, talking tech, and watching anime. I'm passionate about both. There it is. Here it is. And I live for finding solutions. This is the same sentence. Cool. Great. Okay, much better. It was alto. Nailed it. You know how I knew? You look alto-y. That's why. Just be glad you didn't say soprano, though. I had a teacher in my wind department head in college. I played trumpet, right? He played soprano sax. And at a roast one time, one of the other profs asked, what is the difference between a soprano sax player lying dead in the road and a chicken lying dead in the road? And the answer is there's a remote chance the chicken was on his way to a gig. Savage. Brutal. Hurts. Okay, let's go home. So pretty trim page on the whole. Resume and portfolio. Okay. This weirded me out being over here on its own button. I don't know. Why is that on its own button? Who knows? Sound redesigns, capital D. We got a few things that might be in the main reel. We'll see. We'll see. Voiceover redesigns. I saw that on the front page too, actually. Voiceover redesigns. Okay. Interesting. I'm not sure I've ever seen this as a heading before, or as a reel, like over here. So interesting. Yeah, I mean, maybe Biru, feel free to let me know kind of what your motivation was for having portfolio on its own button, because I almost missed this, which is kind of silly. I shouldn't have almost missed it, but I almost felt like this is often like a button for something else entirely, like contact or like leaving this like a blog or something. It's probably not a real issue, but regardless. Let's watch a reel. Oh, it's embedded. We'll see how it goes. Oh, it's Vimeo. It should be fine. Okay. Yeah, most important. It's like to the right. I'd put it, yeah, I mean, usually it's like home and the next most important thing is next to it, because our eyes go left to right, at least in the Western world. So we got home, and then typically I'd see portfolio next to it, yeah. And then resume, I wouldn't even put here. I'd put it on your about page. Just put it right here. Resume, boom. Because this isn't really a section. I guess kind of, but yeah. Yeah, I guess. I think in general, your resume, I may be speaking out of turn here, but I think the resume, just from what I've heard from AAA folks and such, being in like a PDF format, like, hey, here's the download resume, here you go, that might be better than this, because I can't save this easily to have in it. What is, oh, I pressed the Ask button, man. Thanks, Squarespace. Yeah, I just wouldn't, I don't think this is the best place for resume to live. I think about with a link to resume and a PDF that downloads might be the way to go, because no one's gonna like go to your page. If they need to see your resume, it'll still open the PDF online. It's not a big deal, right? But I don't know, not a big deal again. Pictures, right? Okay, yeah. You know, I hovered over this, and I didn't click, and I should have. There's no little arrow here or something, right? I guess the split image kind of invites a click, but I didn't click. Maybe that says something. I don't know. Okay, let's go back to the front page. Home. And let's watch a reel for real. Let me turn up my everything over here. Cranked it. Sidechain is now off. Okay. Full screen. Let's go.
How delectable. Need salt.
Oh, I can't. I was going to press the keyboard. It doesn't work. Here we go. And no. Yes. Thank you, Benedict, for getting us started there. Appreciate that. Claps. There they were. Thank you, everyone, for all the claps. Wonderful. Lovely. Get a lot of good names in here, too. I hadn't said anything previously. Tom, Vitor, Eric, Logan, everyone. Good to see y'all. All right. So... cool. Let's go full screen again. Biru, I'm now recalling seeing your reel, because I think you had some stuff in here previously that is still here, maybe improved in some fashion. Were you in the Riot panel previously? Is that what it was? Yes, I think you were. If I recall correctly, I think I recall Jeff Seamster giving you some. Yes, yeah. Yeah, I recall you getting some feedback on that Matterfall clip. Okay, so let's have a look, because there's some stuff in here that I recall was not as developed, and I think it is more developed now. At least I hope so. I think that's why you're back, right? Isn't that why you're back? You updated the clips and added the... Okay, sure. All right. So let's have a look. So first off, there's no... the opening clip is kind of like just this by itself. I think it's maybe a lost or a missed opportunity, as you have some space to design something here. It's a cool logo. Looks nice. I like it. I like the fro. Pretty cool. But having something, even like fading from black into this, having something, it's a white canvas to work with sound-wise, right? So why not? And on top of that, this is like kind of a presentation thing, kind of a content thing. The cut here, we're not fading from nothing, right? We're fading from some, or even fading at all. I guess a bit, yeah. But it's starting like from here and going up, or sorry, I guess this way. It's not starting from nothing and going up. So as a result, we hear a small pop there. I did acknowledge that the first time listening through, that it starts from like a little bit of a jarring start, very nitpicky thing, but because the beginning was so short, I just ended up hearing it, right? And we're coming from silence, so how do you not hear it? Yeah. Okay, so we have Star Wars Rebels, Lucasfilm Animation and Disney sound redesign. Great. These are a bit low. As you can see, it's kind of competing with the buttons a little bit. Not too bad. It's not too egregious, but it's down there. Move it up to here-ish. Couldn't hurt. The transition now. Oh, we got the opacity fade as well. Oh my god, everyone's doing the new hotness now, right? We got hard white down to oh, the transparency, so nice. Thank you, Zvi Sherman, for bringing us the new ways, the new standard. Exactly, I love it. I love it so much. Let's keep going. Okay, so we have one thing I don't agree with here is that you fade the clip to black, but not the title. And as a result, we have this happening. As you can see, we got like text on text, which is not the cleanest thing. Again, super nitpicky, but it just, you know, we're looking for all the ways we can remove someone from being like, oh, that's weird. Just get rid of all those, smooth off all the edges, and you have a tight result, right? Or a tight remainder. If you fade the visual out and then fade the new one in, which you do, then why not do the same thing with the titles? Just why not? You still have from Speak for Your Real months ago. Yeah, well, you did a good choice. You did the right thing. Yeah, okay, and next transition is where? Here it is. And that one doesn't fade out to black, which I also acknowledged the first time through. So I think in terms of a style, this is definitely coming across as I have some pieces and here they are on a timeline and call it a day, as opposed to some of the reels we've seen in the past from people like Jack Campbell, who, you know, was very attentive and methodical when it came to choosing transitions from like shot to shot. We have a hammer, I think on that one is a hammer coming down, or a sword coming down, and have like a big explosion, big kind of radiating shockwave from the next shot. We have like it feels like this was crafted with a reel's presentation and flow in mind, whereas yours is, again, this is not the kind of thing that will hurt you. No one's going to look at this reel and be like, oh, I was not taken on a journey as much as I could have been. But if they are taken on a journey, they will absolutely acknowledge that, and it'll be a plus, right? So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to give ourselves more pluses. The more pluses you can give, the more, the higher your odds are of landing the gig naturally. So with this one, it's, the clips are not like jarringly arranged or anything. It's just, it's fine. It's just not, it's not mindful, unfortunately. So the mindfully arranged ones, I can recall the ones in my head right now that come across like that. Like Aaron Bowers, the first one. Jack Campbell did that. I think Edward Durkin did it as well with God of War into, what was it? It was Kratos like leaping into a dragon's mouth and the clang is like a clang in the next shot. So they stick out in your mind, which is crazy. I can still recall those, right? But with all the reels we see on this show, but there you go. Of course, it's that speaks for itself that you can still recall them. Let's carry on. We got Riot Games, Fade, the Zvi Sherman Fade, and then finally into what? We get a very short ending, very fast fade. There it is. So that fade time versus this fade time. So it's like half the speed fade time wise. Hey Echo, welcome back. Good to see you again. Again, super nitpicky, just things like this, choosing things like consistent fade times, consistent transition styles. They just serve to bring the whole piece together and make it feel like this is a finished piece that I prepared for you and please enjoy. It tells the story of me. When that is well crafted and well prepared, it's an easy jump for the viewer to make to say, oh, well, they can probably apply the same kind of attention to detail and thoughtfulness to crafting my project and making sure that's a cohesive piece. Of course it makes sense, right? So again, this fast fade at the end is not something someone's gonna like in a docu marks for. Of course not. Just we're looking to give yourself more pluses. That's all. All right. So let's get back to the beginning. And so let's compare this to your portfolio though, because you have the Lucasfilm thing, we have Housemarque, and we have Riot. Okay. Excuse me. So we have the portfolio. I recall seeing more things than that though. So what's here? This redesign is the same one. This is how long? It is 28 seconds. Is that how long it is in the original? Oh, the ESC button doesn't work here, man. Come on. Is that the same length as here? It's probably close, right? Yeah, so this is the same thing. So that's fine. I don't love when the piece in the portfolio is just the same thing because, it's nice you have these additional info bits in there. It's not, it's kind of nice. Let's zoom in a bit more for the folks at home. So, if there's no change in the piece in the portfolio compared to the demo reel, and it's the first thing, it's top left also, right? So if someone goes to your portfolio, it may be they decide to click on the thing top left, be like, oh, is there more here? And there isn't more here. So now we are wasting their time because this is not, it's not an elaboration or extrapolation on what you did in the demo reel. It's the same thing, right? So what is more common, and I think is more effective, is if you have something like, let's say you did like an Arkham City, like a Batman Arkham City redesign or something, and you have a single 12-second clip in your demo reel of kind of the meat of the shot of the full design. And then in your portfolio, you have like a 2-minute long redesign, tons of work. And there you go. Here it is. If there's someone who is looking to, is it Rocksteady that did that project? If you're applying it there, they might watch the full thing because they will say, oh, well, how'd they approach kind of the dynamics and the ebb and flow of the entire piece as opposed to this single meaty clip. Then they're learning more. In this case, we're not learning more. We're learning that you did sound design, sure, and you used field recordings and library sounds, which really like kind of everyone does. That's not really a unique thing. If it was something like a car redesign and you recorded all your own car sounds, that's pretty cool. But saying you did a few recordings and some library sounds on a general redesign like Riot game, like League of Legends, that's not really unique. So we're not learning anything here. And then to know it's you doing the voice acting, okay, that's not like assumable, but sure. Typically when people do more information here, they might do like a little blurb, like a paragraph, a few sentences, just talking about kind of some things they did on the project. If it's not a credit, they might talk about, like what they recorded and some challenges they faced or whatever, right? Just help people learn a little more. Furthermore, this date on things, I don't think it's really relevant or helpful at all, because I mean, again, all these are all my opinions, right? I can't speak for the entire industry at large. I can't speak for what every single audio director out there wants to see. But in general, I'm a huge fan of trimming the fat and having only the most pertinent information available to you, right? So this is again in the interest of using people's time effectively, because the time it takes them to read this, they could have been reading something else that's more relevant and will add more information to their assessment of you as a candidate. So the fact you did it in June, it's not. I don't really care. Is it awesome or not? If you did it in June of 2015, it sounds awesome. Great. It still doesn't really matter if this represents your current skill level and what you can bring to the team. That's kind of all that matters. So these dates are, I mean, if there's a bunch of things here, it's clear that you've been busy. You don't need to be saying, hey, look, I'm being consistent or something, and like March to January. I mean, maybe there's even like, what were you doing in those, 9 months or whatever, right? It's just not really super helpful. That's what it comes down to. Source as well. I mean, I yes, you say so in the clip where it came from. So that's also kind of not giving additional information. It's nice to give courtesy, sure, as far as where it came from and such, so the credits. But the credit in the video is usually fine. Or even just like alongside the title. I'd much rather know more about these projects from a you perspective. And the contributions kind of start getting there. But I mean, it's a sound redesign. You say sound design again. It's just not really. You can be more specific and come at it from an angle of what would you say in, say, an interview if someone said like, hey, like, what you use in this clip for League of Legends, right? And just yes, typos, 2 spaces. Kevin, shut up. So nitpicky. Period here, no period. Italics here, no italics. Just small little things here and there. Can add up as far as indication of perhaps a shortfall in attention to detail. It's very, very small things, but enough of them, and it can leave an impression, right? Okay, back to home. Let's talk about the content a little bit. It seems to me we're kind of skipping material selection a little bit. So I guess first off, it seems to me you want to work in AAA. It's pretty obvious to me. Devil's in the details. What's up, sweet niche? How you doing? Good to see you. So it seems like a studio gig for sure, given your redesigns. Mind you, Finland and LA are pretty different, but that's fine. So I recall. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna go sidechain again. I recall from the Riot panel. Was that November of last year? It was a while back. I seem to recall that this clip had some more room for details and such. It was like more broad strokes or something. I can't recall specifically what we gave you for feedback, but I like it now. I love that phrasing. Really nice. This movement over time of the opening, the preamble too, is very nice this here. Really nice, this movement. The one thing I mean, this is like a style thing. Maybe this is perfect for the project. Personally, it goes a bit too distorted for my taste, like when it's kind of full bore here. Mainly because I think the reason I'm not sold on it, I think from a presentation standpoint, is that this blast gets really distorted, right? It's way out there, and then we're surging. It flashes the light, it goes full flash, then it drops back again, and it's steady. And the steady distortion is almost the same as the flash distortion. And story-wise, the flash is, of course, a larger moment. It goes up and down in like luminosity and stuff, right? So it does come down a little bit as far as frequency content's concerned, which is good, but the distortion I feel like is maybe heavy-handed here at the very end. But again, just my opinion. It could be that there's some audio lead in this project who was like, this is perfect, really cool. What is the general consensus regarding animated shows as well as game content for a game audio reel? Yeah, I mean, we kind of gave that feedback last time, so I wasn't bringing it up this time around. But when it comes to, and I don't really know what Star Wars Rebels is very well. Like, I'm not a big Star Wars guy. So the thing about showing like an Iron Man clip or something, like the movie, not the game, in a game audio reel is that it just, again, it's one of those things where you're not getting pluses. It may not actively hurt you, but you just won't be in a better place compared to the competitor next door who is delivering a reel that's full of game stuff, and perhaps game stuff that's specific to the potential employer, right? So naturally, they're going to be going with people who are, and we talk about this a lot on Real Talk, but it's all about assessing risk from the angle, from the perspective of an employer, a potential employer. They're assessing the risk of every candidate, what that risk factor is. If we hire this person, are they going to do the work? Are they going to be a problem? Is it going to be a lot more work than we have time for? That kind of thing. And if someone applies and they are doing all redesigns of things that studio's already released, and the redesigns sound sweet, it's very low risk because it's like, oh, they know our style, they've done a good job of it, so we could probably put them in a chair tomorrow and they'd be off to the races. So compare that to an equally talented sound designer who has done all film stuff or some film stuff and maybe some games that aren't that studio's projects. And suddenly there are question marks. It may be that they could be in a chair tomorrow and do a great job. It's very possible, but it's not as clear in its communication. And when it's not as clear, they're not going to take a chance when they have a sure thing over here instead, right? It's just more likely. Again, we're just trying to increase the odds of getting a job. There's no guarantees at all, ever, of course. Just the odds. We're just playing the odds. Yeah, I think there was some panning stuff that you had not done previously and you have done now. So that's fun. So one, again, a lot of these are like style notes that perhaps are just me personally, but I'm very careful when it comes to transients and like when I'm using impacts or not, just any kind of transient. It's so, for example, when the enemies kind of form up and it finishes pouring into the ground and goes and an enemy rises up. If we watch that muted, here we go, and there they are. In my opinion, watch this one, for instance. Okay, we'll do it one more time. Right? It finishes pouring in, and there's a point at which it finishes pouring in, and then it starts rising up instead. It's like all down, 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 and then up, 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 and we have a character now. So, to me, there isn't really a moment. I mean, given the transient, that the concept of a transient in audio means we're going from a quiet or perhaps inactive state to a very active state suddenly, and then back down to quiet, again, or less activity. With this, we have activity in the downward movement, and then there's an immediate shift into activity in upward movement. And instead, so to that end, I don't really see a moment where we go from like inactive to crazy active. So there's like a pop on the spawns. So I'll put the sound back on. I apologize. It's like when it hits, and I'm just not sure about that. Like and it slaps back and stuff. it struck me as odd the first time I heard it because it didn't feel like it matched the visual as far as like I think like a surge in that moment could be really, really good. Because sure, you do want to have a difference in the down compared to the up to have to have yeah. So Alex is saying there about red circles. Alex is saying like having something there to notate yes, there's a change happening is valuable and certainly worthwhile. But like a like a hard K style transient feels like maybe it's a bit heavy-handed. Oh, I'm realizing that the slap, it's not a slap back, it's the enemies behind us, I think, is what we're hearing. Because there's more from that top shot you can see. It's like the, yeah, sure. Yeah, and then on top of that, the breakages of the enemies, like their destructions, are similarly maybe a little bit too like simplistic and transienty, because like you have a glass break on this last one, especially it sticks out. It's like playing, like, but it's odd because you have some impacts here that are really good, like these ones here. And then here, this is right in our face, that explosion, right? We're behind the character, explodes, reveals our hero, but we're hearing like a glass break, and that's kind of it. So I was surprised that we didn't have more that like kind of like the meaty, kind of broadband impact here. Because to me, these impacts are not just this impact sped up. Right, that's crazy impactful and broadband and like wide compared to that, right? It's mostly glass break in this case. And I think on top of that, style wise, the glass break approach is, yeah, cool. If you want to choose that, you know what, this stuff they're made of is all glass, it sounds like crystalline, whatever, then cool. But I think it's dangerous to go too simple in the design where it's like one-to-one with a window, like a window pane breaking or a wine glass breaking or something like that. Because to me, if I close my eyes with this, after these two, now close your eyes, the impacts to me just sound like windows breaking. They don't really sound like something more like otherworldly. So there's probably further room to elaborate your design and get really creative with those impacts to make it maybe like splay more. So throw it through some delays and like mess with the delay time like I was doing before the stream starts, or something like that, to have something that sounds a bit less real. So there's not as much of a risk of the player / viewer having a foothold in reality. Like, oh, I know what that sound is. It's a window breaking. Because if it sounds too much like that thing, then they might have a disconnect between what they know it sounds like and what they're seeing. Yeah, I mean, that's just sound design, right? You need to just do some weird stuff until it sounds cool. There you go. But there's some leaps and bounds here as far as improvement goes. I can tell you've done a lot of work. So I recall being kind of like, okay, cool. When I saw it the first time, this time there's some really good design in here. So very nice. I'm focusing hard on this stuff to improve, but it's got a solid foundation. Really nice work, Biru. Very nice. And I'm not really a huge fan of the isolated sound thing for Riot. I know we see it occasionally.
How delectable.
Like, was this a sound test from Riot? Because oftentimes that's what these things are. They're like, the video is prepared by Riot and they say, here you go, design please. And whenever I see this in a reel, my assumption is that Riot didn't hire you. And so then there's like this, it was personal though. Okay, interesting. So maybe it's still relevant to say that this kind of design can be viewed as like a failed test or something. And in that case, there's a psychological kind of conclusion to draw, whether it's fair or not, of like, oh, well, if they didn't hire you, then why should I, right? So there's that consideration, even though it might not be, might not be fair to say. But moving on.
Need salt.
Okay, so one thing here. First, nice work on the voice. It's certainly cool. It's maybe not quite to the level of being like, this is shipping quality, but it's not bad. I was not distracted by it at all. Sounds pretty cool. The one thing I heard the first time through, and heard again now, is when you have things like water splashing or wind or scraping, like noisy things that have a duration. This whirling is a good example here. So this is pretty noisy, and League is a crazy, like, active game. There's so much happening in the midst of battle. So in this case, you're faced with the challenge of designing this moment and making it stick through the mix and be identifiable and not too noisy to like clutter things up, right? To be somewhat clean. So in this case, you're taking this kind of water approach to all the design. It makes sense. But in this case here, we have a lot of splashing beforehand, and it's kind of unchanging splashing. Excuse me. If you just press, if I press play here and just close your eyes, everyone. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and... all those splashes are kind of the same in terms of their frequency focus and their intensity and such. So there may be some room to pull in, like shift your frequency focus from the in to the out to make sure they sound different, like that kind of thing. In the background, sure, but it's not really out front, and it's easy to miss, especially in the midst of battle. And maybe like kind of like a something to indicate the movements, the whirling movement, both the number of times whirled and the speed and size, like various things like that, rather than just going so heavy on the water splashing, because the water splashing does a good job of like covering the time it takes, but it's not really telling the specific story of what's happening. And the splash here too, I'm going to change this over for a second. So there's no delay. Yeah, again, that transient for the splash I'm not really sold on the entry and the sound of it. We have a very like, it's a plunk kind of sound. Almost like a splat, actually. It sounds like a really hard entry, and what's happening here, it's a large body. It's more like almost like a cone shape entering the water. Right? Zoom, they're diving in. And they're fat, It's. I just feel like the splash isn't fully representative of what this is. And water's hard. Like, water's hard to get right. Whooshes are hard, and water's hard to get sound right based on the volume of the water, like the water volume itself, the body of water, and like the activity of the water, and how big the thing is, and the shape of the thing, and the time it takes for the thing to enter the water. All these considerations come into play. So I'm not faulting you for not being quite where I'd like it to be. It's just tough, And then here as well, the out. It's better in terms of the size, but the length of the splash, thinking in terms of the rest of the game's mix going on, it's maybe dangerous to have it like lasting that long. And being so heavy in the mid-range too. I would encourage you to to heavily consider like the other parts of the game we're not seeing right now. And this is also why I don't love sound redesigns in isolation like this, because you're not really getting a full sense of what this comes across like in the game, and you're forced to make certain assumptions like, oh, well, is this going to work or is it not? I just think that having a shot of a game redesigned is like a gameplay shot redesigned is so much more powerful and effective as an up and comer like yourself, rather than these design bits in isolation. This is absolutely a good exercise for you, but I don't know if it's the best thing to have in your demo reel to show your aptitude and sensibilities for the game space. All right, let's move on. I'm going way over on your time here, Biru. I apologize, Michael. I'm taking too long. I'll probably go a bit longer for you too to make sure it's all evened out. But so on the whole, are you standing out in some positive way? Well, I like you have some branding, not a lot. You have some. I didn't look at your voiceover thing. Let's quickly glance at this. Actually, last thing we're gonna do. I'm really curious. How long is this? 1 minute. Okay. Let's go.
How delectable. Another meal. Delicious. All the world's a river, and I'm its king.
The cold will numb your pain. I consider frigid a compliment. Is it cold in here, or is it just me?
Anyone want some stardust? I spark passion into starfire. Imagine what you could do with the larger canvas.
Come on, show me something new. I had a crush till you started talking to the gun.
Again, like the voice isn't bad, the performance isn't bad, but it's not great. It's like if I got this as an audition for the character, like you might not get the part. Is that fair to say? It's certainly good enough to be, again, working with it as an exercise, but to be honest, I'm thinking about your performance more than I'm thinking about the effects you put on the voices. So if you want to do this, which is interesting, then I might suggest you invest in hiring someone, and then it'll be fully this like dissociation from yourself, and you won't risk someone thinking, oh, well, Biru's not like the best voice actor for this character specifically or something, right?
So you started talking to the gun. I really hope you're not the future me.
Oh, what happened there?
Me.
If it? I don't know what happened at the end there. Something weird. Watch that. Yeah, it's interesting, I guess. It's interesting. I don't know. I let me think about that. Let me think. I'll leave it alone for now. There's a space here too. Why is there a space? So let's move on. Thanks, Biru, for getting on here again. There's that button. There it is. All right. All right, over to Michael. Thank you for your patience. I'm so bad for going over the first. Because we talk about a lot of things that are kind of like general stuff that can be applied to everyone's reels, not necessarily only Biru, so happens. First thing I noticed, of course, going to mouse over to the tab, this tab is called Home, which is not ideal. That screams templatey website when you see stuff like that. Also, skip to content? What is that? What's this do? It does nothing. It removes the skip to content button. All right. We have skipped to the content. Here we are. Yeah, Taco Bowl's going off. There it is. Take notes. Take notes. We got Twitter. We got LinkedIn. We got, an off-center bio. Is that? Yes, okay, I'll zoom in, I guess. Zoom in 150. All right. Style, I guess. Hi, I'm Michael, a sound designer for video games, Chihuahua lover, and pizza enthusiast. From Newcastle upon Tyne, UK. Thanks for checking out my work. I'm passionate about both the creative and technical aspects of... What the heck? I felt like I was reading Biru's reel for a second, or reading Biru's page. This is interesting. So this comes back to my point. What was I saying before? It's always like some commonality between the two pages, right? Look at this. I'm passionate about both creative and technical design. I'm passionate about both the creative and technical aspects of sound design. What? I've never been more validated in my life. This is silly. There you go, right? And love working with other devs to push boundaries and achieve our shared goals. Okay. I'm currently working remotely as a freelance sound designer and engineer. You can find my CV here. Yeah, I like that more than having the resume page. That's a good choice. Main skills: sound design, field recording, Reaper, Logic Pro, Pro Tools, iZotope. Nice. RX? Good on you. And Waves plugins. Oh, I see. iZotope and Waves plugins, so not RX. Fmod Studio, Wise, Unity, and UE4. Cool. More skills. Basic C#, that helps. UE4 blueprints, that helps too. Good on you. Okay, recent work. Tiny headline. Yes, Alex, you are correct. Thank you. Correct me. RX can be a plugin. It can. I apologize. Okay, so the arc. We're now into what is happening here. We're scrolling down. I'm gonna go back to that main page again. Skip to content. Nothing happened, so it's not there anymore. Why was it here the first time? So odd. Recent work. The arc. Aftermath. The trailer farm tech test. Okay. Inside. That's a bold one. That's a bold one redesigned because this game won all kinds of awards for sound design, for audio in general. Monstrum. Okay. So the current template does not support portfolio pages. So this kind of thing, again, just the home immediately screamed, this is a template page. And then this thing isn't ideal to see either. Just these small details can kind of just, I mean, you're up against certain people, Michael, who have, designed websites that look really good. It's, I mean, even when you have a website that is also still like pretty clearly a templatey site, even like Brook Yaps comes to mind. We've got, it's a template site for sure, but it's tight, and it's got home, but Brook Yap right there. It's not going to be, we don't have kind of the classic like search button in the corner we see occasionally on template sites, that kind of thing. Just be aware that that's who you're up against, right? So the more time you put into tightening up your site and design and so forth, you're going to be in a better spot. So let's watch your reel, I guess contact as well. Oh, different page. Is this the same thing? It is the same thing. So yeah, there you go again. Like I was saying to Biru, when you have links like portfolio or whatever, they should be in addition to the thing you already saw. Here's some more. And in this case, I kind of expected the about button to scroll down for me to this point, and it didn't do that. So I was surprised that that happened. And the about page has the same thing, I think. No, it's a bit different. This isn't the same text. So, all right. Anyways, let's go ahead and I want to give you one more note too. The just small thing, iZotope has capitals, like lowercase I, capital Z. So just that kind of thing, just getting small details right. Let's go watch a reel. We got 50 seconds, a bit short. Little bit short. The 10X is where we like to see it, but we'll see how we do here. Let's go. Okay, so this is worth mentioning. Around 12 seconds ish, I was considering pausing to talk about whether. Okay, I was so on the cusp of pausing and moving forwards to see what else that you worked on, but Yeah, it was so close that I didn't quite do it. So now I'm pausing to tell you that I didn't quite do it. That's where we're at. So yeah, we'll keep watching the whole thing. I'll back up a little bit. We'll keep watching, but we'll come back and talk about that for a second after we're finished here. Okay. All right. And I can't press the button. Man, come on. I'm so sorry. I should have. I don't know why it isn't working. That's a troubleshoot post stream. For sure. Okay. Thank you for claps in chat. Thank you, Michael, for sharing your work. Let's watch this again. So first off, presentation. Let's see. We have the game audio here. We don't have contact info, which is nice to have, or a website or something. Just make it easy to get in touch, right? If we go to your YouTube video, what's here? Let's see. With 37 views. We got go to the site for details. Okay, wonderful. All right, and then here, if we got a contact, what's that go to? Email, and there it is. Yeah, so your email's right there. It's already here. It can't hurt to put this in the reel itself too, you know? I mean, if the info's already out there, you're giving it freely, so you might as well have it on your video too. Can't hurt. All right, so let's talk about this. Opening wise, we got your name, a fun little animation. Oh, there isn't for there. My bad. I apologize. Moving on. So yeah, like someone else in the chat, I have also not thought about Brink. Shagans. I have not thought about Brink for a long time. My eyes widened like, oh, Brink, crazy. Yeah, moving on. Okay, so we're now 24 seconds in, 25. Okay, 26 now. So this is a one clip is Brink, which is an old, sadly failed game. And the arc is the other half of the clip, goes until 47 or so. So we have 20 seconds of that, and we have, this starts at around 4 seconds. So it's like 22 and 24-ish? Is that right? Or 20? 22 and 20. So 2 clips only in your reel is not a lot, unfortunately. It's been a long time since we've gotten a reel that was only 2 things. Occasionally, we'll see one where the submitted video is like a single redesign, and that's also pretty uncommon. As your demo reel should be kind of a standalone, concise piece that delivers all the information that is pertinent to you in like a bite-sized portion, right? And if you want to learn more, it's like, well, it's just a teaser for you, so sure, come learn more. Go to my site and go to my various things and learn more. In this case, the arc is up top. We have some info here. It says you did some implementation. So, okay, this here is not information about you. It's information, it's a first-person sci-fi horror game. Great. Working with Daniel Pratt. Okay, so this clip focuses on the claustrophobic ambient audio that not only sets the scene for the horror of the game, but also works in tandem with specific game mechanics relating to player health and sanity. Okay, I would love to know what you did on it for... Oh, it's not here. Okay, that's unfortunate. So implementation, what's that mean? What did you do? Is it Fmod? Is it Wise? Is it Unity? Does it say here? Did I miss it? Am I moving too fast? I don't think it's here. And there's no other clips in here that should say what it was. So, yeah, right now I'm just not sure what this is as far as how it relates to the work I have to offer you, right, as an employer. If we're working with something, I mean, you're saying implementation, if it's something specific that you have cool stuff with, like this sounds interesting, that it works in tandem with game mechanics in regards to players' health and sanity. That sounds great. How does it do that? You know, I would love to hear more about that. Is it down below? Do we have some more information, like a walkthrough or something? We do not. So that's a wonderful place to kind of acknowledge that people looking at your site may have further questions. They might think, oh, implementation, I want to learn more. What's Arc? Sounds pretty cool. What's great? And then if they click out of the video to go to your portfolio or to scroll down or whatever, and there isn't more information, then it's a bit of a missed opportunity because you had their attention and their interest was piqued, and then they didn't have like a landing pad for their interest, you know? In this case, we have also Aftermath, which is, a short video highlighting the sound design and interactive music system I developed for a game called Aftermath, no space, careful, focusing, misspelled, on the use of trigger behaviors as well as the placement of in-game assets to give the player environmental audio cues that warn them of danger. This is also a sentence fragment, careful of that. So let's see this. What's this all about? 24 seconds. Okay, sure. So again, this says there is sound design and interactive music system, but this clip is very short and tells me very little about the project. There's one short scene with some kind of unnerving audio treatment, but I don't know what you've done in terms of interactivity. Is this, again, is it in Unity? Is this in Wise? Is this, what's it using for interactivity? What is driving the audio? How does the audio change over time? These are things that are really relevant to people like me as far as our interests. And if there isn't this information here, then it comes down to like just trusting that you did interactivity in some way, and maybe it'll be relevant to what we have for you. Like, it's not really, you're not helping yourself by not giving more information. It's just, it leaves more question marks and more risk, like I was saying earlier when we were doing Biru Jones's review and such. Fever Dream, a narrative-driven showreel featuring linear sound design, audio. Oh, focusing. Oh, thanks, Jordan. I apologize. I was wrong. Focusing was an alternate spelling. Fair enough. Linear sound design, audio implementation, again, interactive music systems, okay, again. Design in Wise, okay, there you go. So that's helpful. What do we got? Okay, so I'm mega confused. Is this featuring linear sound design? It's featuring both linear sound design and audio implementation. These are like not in the Venn diagram. These are separate circles, you know. So I'm not sure how, or is there like, is there gameplay clips that are implemented or something? Or later on, I see. Here we go. Later on. But so this is what am I looking at, man? This is a show reel? So Fever Dream is like the name of your show reel? Is that what I'm understanding? Is this like a working title of the piece you've made that is operating as your show reel? That's what I'm understanding this to be, which is unconventional to name your show reel. So it's an old show reel. Okay, so if it's an old show reel, I wouldn't even have it on the page, because the purpose of your portfolio should be, as I've been saying, to offer more information than the person already has after watching your reel. If there's content in this reel you're proud of that you think should be seen, then it should go in this reel. If it's old and no longer represents where you're at as far as your current skill sets and such, then it just shouldn't be here. Because you want to use people's time as wisely as possible, as effectively and efficiently as possible. And with this one, I was, as you may have gleaned, I was mostly confused because I thought this was a game called Fever Dream, as this is a game called Aftermath, and this is a game called The Ark, right? So the consistency in titling led me to believe something that was just false. So going into this, I was mostly confused rather than being like well primed to adjudicate your work accordingly. And that's just unfortunate, of course it is. And then Aftermath, we have this thing, which is maybe the same thing as this. Is that true? Yeah, so this seems to be the same clip. In that case, we're again just offering information that the person already has. So yeah, I'd really recommend you kind of take a look at the work you've done and think, okay, what's super hot, what is amazing, and what do I need the person to see? And we're gonna put that in the top right here, and then everything else we can put down below and say, yeah, this is pretty cool too, by the way. We'll see occasionally. Earlier in the stream, someone was asking about putting film stuff alongside game stuff. It's occasional, yeah. We'll see like an other audio section, and they'll put in like, oh, here's some interactive music I did for a ballet performance. I'm like, oh, that's pretty interesting and cool, and I'd love to hear more about that. Like over a beer, I'd love to hear about how that went down, and that's interesting enough to have in a section. Having things like, also, if you're trying to get a sound design gig, but you also write music or something, that was not what you're looking to get hired for, then yeah, having a music section or like other audio or something section where it's clear, hey, by the way, if you're interested, if you're still here, thanks for your time, have a look at this stuff, it's pretty cool, I think it's pretty cool, have a look, then that's worthwhile. The portfolio should be fully in the interest of answering questions that have been raised due to the person watching the reel. If they say, oh, this Arkham City redesign's awesome, I want to see more of that, they can go look at it. If they see implementation in Ark, they say, oh, what kind of implementation? And they go to your portfolio, and here's a video of Michael talking us through how they solved this like interactivity issue between player health and sanity using Unity and Wise or something like that, right? So there's like this kind of like 1-2 punch happening, and right now there is like no 2 on your page. It's all 1 only. And so as a result, you're going to have a lot of people just asking questions and not having answers. So they probably won't be like, oh, well, I should take a lot of time to like hunt Michael down and find the answers to these questions, because the fact is there's like hundreds of candidates who have applied for the same job you have. And there are very likely dozens at least who have those answers on their website, who, those questions have been raised and the answers are there. So they will be the ones who get shortlisted, because it's just less effort. And when people are hiring, they're busy. So it's really hard to justify like sinking more and more hours into the hiring process when you have wonderful candidates already here. Why look into this like other batch who isn't immediately communicating their skills to you? It just isn't time effective, right? And it's not like they're mean or rude. It just is. It's just business. They're using time in the most effective way they can to solve the problem at hand. And that is, we need more help. That's all. So I do want to see these things though. So Trailer Farm tech test, a tech test for the Trailer Farm focusing, different focusing. What's up, Jordan Payne? Come on, man. Focusing 1S on the attention grabbing aspects of linear sound design. We're just doing the full exploration of all the alternate spelling. That's all right. Okay, let's go. Whoa. Interesting. Really interesting. I've never seen that kind of redesign before. A tech test? I'm still not sure what a tech test is, though. Is this, like, did you apply there and use this as the test or something? And, yeah, I'm just not sure what this is. if anything, I would just call this a redesign. And is all that content yours, like all the music content and all the kind of voice content? This just isn't enough. Again, I need more information here. I'd love to know, like, I want to know more information because it's super interesting. So you applied and they sent that to redesign. Okay, sure. So bear in mind, and we've seen this before on Real Talk, and I've seen it just in the wild, when people send you, like some company sends you a demo and says, hey, this is a silent video clip, please redesign it. Then if you have permission to use it in your portfolio past that point, I wouldn't allude to the idea that this was done as a test that you attempted and was not successful, right? Because it comes back to the League of Legends thing I was saying to Biru. It's like, if they didn't hire you, then why should I? That's kind of and that might not even be an active thought I'm having. It just might be subconscious. So I wouldn't say tech test. I would say trailer farm redesign. Just end it there. Done. And then talk about like what you did as opposed to what this thing. Well, you can give a brief thing. Like, yeah, it's a redesigned trailer farm video or whatever, commercial ad, something. It is interesting. And finally, another small detail, things like this redesign spelling versus this redesign spelling. I don't know that there is a standard agreed upon way to spell it, but it should at least be consistent. Let's go. Please. 30 seconds. Okay, right. So this is just content-wise. I was saying that this is a bold-ass choice to redesign because the sound designer won Best Audio for this game in 16? Is that right? Same year that Goner won Best Audio in IGF. I can't recall what year that was. But this, I can say, does not sound as good as the original game does because that guy is a genius. It's not a slight on you. Martin knows what he's doing, you know? So this is a dangerous thing to redesign, a dangerous game. Any game that won Best Audio, just maybe steer clear of. The main thing I heard here that stuck out like a sore thumb is that this is so loud in the scene when it happens, right? Like, there it is, right? At like hard left. Just maybe too far left for this design, but then we'll go forward a bit and it should bang like now, and just didn't. So suddenly this is the only one we can hear. It's a very common affliction when it comes to earlier, like redesigns that happen earlier in someone's career, is they design what's right in front of them on the screen and kind of stop there, as opposed to building out the world beyond, like beyond the frame. And this is a pretty egregious example because this thing is so loud and because it's the only thing in the shot and we know we're in a room, you know? So we should absolutely be hearing this and we're just not. So, yeah, a lot of worries here. We'll watch the whole thing though. Poor guy. Okay, so that's, and the last one, Monstrum. So this was in the tech, not the tech test, the Fever Dream thing also. Let's go here. Oh, it's long. Okay, and again, this is now different. So this Scream is older because it's not the same intro as the other videos have. This is a long intro, very long. Moving on. Okay, yeah, so this definitely is an earlier piece that you designed. So then it comes down to, is this indicative of your current skills? because it seems it's old enough that it has like a different style and stuff. So how old is this? This is 2 years old as of last week. So yeah, it comes down to, well, this is now one of like 5 pieces on your page, and it's 2 years old. So then it starts to invite questions like, oh, well, what else have you been working on, kind of thing, right? If I look into this one too, this is when, also 2 years old, same day 2 years ago. And then this one, Trailer Farm Test, this is a year after that one. So it's a year between pieces. And then Fever Dream is May. Okay. So that one's between, actually. And then Aftermath was what? Please? Thank you. We got Feb this year. Okay. So yeah, it's an easy trap to fall into, where you think, oh, well, I should put like all the things I've ever done on this page. And the thing is, like, we constantly kind of update our page as far as our projects list goes. It's long-ish, but we definitely don't assume everyone will see every game and they're going to click through and like read everything. Of course not, right? But we're frequently changing which one's on top. We'll very likely move this to the top because it's out on early access like next month. So we constantly kind of change things based on their relevance and our pride in the project and like various factors, right? And that inevitably means things get removed over time, right? If you look at like the very first version of this site, none of these games were there. Of course not yet, right? But it's no like shame to remove things. It just means that it's not really worthwhile to keep every single game here forever. And frankly, we can for sure serve to stand to like quell this list a little bit. We have games like Action Hank that we worked on a long time ago with Rage Squid. We love this game, did very well, and we're happy with the work. But this game's also by Rage Squid and is much more recent and much more relevant. So perhaps it's time to say goodbye to Action Hank, you know? So in this case, it's it's tricky because of course you put a lot of work into this, and at that point you need to say, well, you know what? It's time to move on. We thank the Monstrum gameplay sound redesign for its work, and we remove it from the page and then move on to bigger and better things. In this case, I think that you've got a good kind of foundation going here. You're obviously very interested in what you're doing. You're working in music and sound and implementation. You have some C# skills, blueprints. You've got a lot of the bullet points that a team, like a AAA team or other studio, might be looking for, but you're just not quite yet communicating enough of what you're doing. That's all. Like, I want to know more about Michael, and I don't have that information at hand here, right? And frankly, the demo reel should have at least 3 things in it. The 2 is really uncommon, less common than 1 even. It's super uncommon, and I'd love to see more, you know. So just keep working. I mean, I hate to leave all you people waiting for your shot of Jaeger. So if you're playing the Real Talk drinking game, please, josh@bell.com. Here it is. Just realize, Michael, that when you're applying for gigs, you're up against sites like this that have the reel at the top, and we're not even going to listen to anything, okay? We're not listening to a thing. We're just going to look at the site. So we have the reel up top, cool. Then we scroll down, and there's like work for days, right? These are all the things that Josh has been cranking on for a long time. And guess what? Josh got hired, right? So when we have your page, we have a few things here, but it's not a lot. And the things that are here are kind of confusing compared to here's the gist. It's like we have ambient audio. Here's what it is. Here's where it is, etc. We have maybe an occlusion thing, and he describes briefly kind of what that is if you're curious. And like, I haven't watched all these videos. I watched a couple and they're really good. So it's like you just want to have, like I was saying, a landing pad for people who have questions. So when they have those questions, you have the answers, and they're just going to be further ingratiated towards you because they'll like that they had answers to their questions, of course. All right. I'm beating a dead horse here. So I hope that was helpful, Michael. If you have any questions at all, of course, hit me up on Twitter and such. Happy to help if I can. And that goes for you as well, Biru. Of course, anyone in the chat, if you have questions at all, I'm pretty open door policy. I can't promise I'll get back immediately, but I do try and reply to people when they have questions about whatever. So feel free to ask. Last things, are you signing out? Not quite yet, honestly. I think there's a lot of room to grow here, and Like I was saying, solid foundation. I think you got a good future ahead of you. I'd love to see a V2 of this, just with more of this on display in your reel itself. Think of it, if I only have a minute, can you express this to me without my having to read that? You know? Like, mainly this first one actually, can I get this out of your demo reel? And if so, then awesome. Or at least most of it. They won't get like isotope and waves and stuff. Who cares about that? And even like the DAWs. It's mainly things like the implementation and tools. That's what I'm more interested in. Like, can you deliver all that information in a minute in a reel? And if you can, then awesome. Riley Circles asks, can you assume people will see your resume before your site? Like, should I include stuff, my degrees and stuff? It depends where you're applying. I know that with AAA studios, it's oftentimes the case where there is an HR team or recruitment department or something whose job it is to simply parse resumes and look for things like, hey, they have C#, or hey, they know UE4, or whatever. And if they don't have that on their resume, then they are not considered, in which case they will not get to your reel. So that is a consideration. If you apply for someone like an indie dev or a smaller studio that may not have like a massive HR department, it becomes more likely that that they would look at your reel right away. I can say that when Power Up was hiring, we put a job posting up and we got some 150-ish applications. We absolutely went to their site and watched the reel first. It's the first thing we did. And in some cases, you watch 5 seconds, 10 seconds, you're like, oh, okay, it's pretty clear this is not the right person for the job. And others, you watch the whole thing, you're like, damn, that was sick. And you want to learn more. And your goal is to end up in the second camp, of course. Of course it is. Okay, and I think I can call it there. We're already a bit over time here. I always run a bit long. We're talking about sound design a little bit to start, so ran a bit over. Here you go. Thank you, Michael. Vitor, you just followed? What the heck? We did your review like months ago. What's going on? What is your deal, man? All right. Fair enough. Okay. All right. Thank you everyone for hanging out. And I guess our next stream is in 2 weeks. And I should turn some minute back on, right? Where's minute at? Where is it? That's the question. Let's pull this way back. Way back, please. Let's go to Alarming Swamp. Oh, yeah, there we go. Very alarming. Okay, yes, thank you so much, everyone, for your input and being here. Always a great pleasure. Look forward to the stream every couple of weeks. And if you want to submit your own work for Real Talk for review, you can do so down below at powerupaudio.com or on Twitter at powerupaudio or at RecMK. Either one is totally fine. I'll get it regardless, and we'll slot you in. Bear in mind, we're currently slotting in January, I think, is the next available spot. It might even be February at this point. It's, so February 3rd is the next slot. So if you want some time to work on your reel ahead of time, then perhaps apply now. Submit your stuff now, and we'll slot you in, and we'll get to you in a few months. That's kind of how it goes, right? So in a couple weeks, we have Mike Romanek. Oh my God. It's happening. It's happening. Excuse me. And Alex Papiachvili? That's how you say it? Is that Sovoli? I can't recall who Sovoli is. I apologize. I should know. I can't recall. Yes, and of course, Micromaniac. We were saying to start the stream off. Of course, it's you. There you go. But anyways, yeah, Alex, we've looked at before, and Mike's been here for a while, so looking forward to seeing that. And I guess we'll see you then. Thanks so much. See you next time. Cheers.